Your Honor, I would like to charge Robyn Brown with fraud and emotional abuse. Christine's voice broke, but her words boomed like thunder within the crowded courtroom. Robyn's face went sheet white. Kody stood stock still in shock. The silence was suffocating. Cameras weren't permitted within, but the gallery was filled with reporters, family, and fans of the sister wives drama that had played out over years. They'd come for closure. Nobody anticipated a war. She used the family's shared funds to secure a secret mortgage. She took what wasn't hers, lied to our faces, and broke a bond built over 2 decades. Christine stood tall now, not the same woman who had once cried in silence, ignored in the shadows of polygamy. She wasn't just speaking for herself. She was speaking for all of them. Robyn slowly stood up to talk. Her eyes sparkled with tears, her hands tightly interlaced, shaking. "I didn't steal," she whispered. "Kody and I thought the money in the family account was available. I wasn't attempting to defraud anyone. I was doing it to protect my children." Her voice broke. She looked straight at the judge, then glanced over at Christine. "You were pulling away?" Janelle was upset all the time. Meri had withdrawn already. "I felt like nobody cared anymore. I was just trying to get through." But Christine didn't bat an eyelash. She maintained eye contact, cold as stone. "Trying to survive?" Christine blurted. "You purchased a 5-bedroom home, and the rest of us were leasing trailers. Don't refer to that as survival. Refer to it as what it truly is, betrayal." Gasps percolated throughout the courtroom. The judge rapped the gavel gently. "One at a time, please." The air grew thicker. Kody massaged his face, obviously becoming more and more agitated by the minute. And then suddenly, Meri rose. Everyone looked. "I stood up for her," she said, hardly glancing over at Robyn. "When everyone was telling her that she was manipulating Kody, I said they were wrong. I said that Robyn loved this family." She took out her phone and held it up, her hands shaking noticeably. "Until I received this voicemail, left for Kody," she said. "Meri is dead weight. She's just here out of guilt. We need to move on." Robyn's head fell. Her lips parted, unable to speak. Kody sat there in shock. He attempted to say something, but Meri stopped him with a raised hand. "I remained, Robyn. For you, for this family. And you made me a laughingstock behind my back." Tears started streaming down her face. The courtroom fell silent. "I wasn't dead weight, I was faithful." She sat back down again, gasping for breath. For once Robyn had no response. And for once, Kody didn't come to her defense. Kody Brown tucked his collar in, standing up from his chair with visible discomfort. The judge had just summoned him to the witness stand. His customary bravado was absent. No swagger, no charm. Only a worn-out, oppressed man walking gradually across the floor of the courtroom, like the bearer of a crumbling empire. He seated himself, swallowed hard. The clerk administered the oath. "State your name." "Kody Wayne Brown." "Your relationship to the defendant?" "She's my wife," he replied. Then after a lengthy hesitation, included. "My only one now." The courtroom shifted. That single phrase, "my only one now," told it all. Christine, Meri, and Janelle gazed down. Robyn fidgeted in her seat. The prosecutor rose, his tone flat but purposeful. "Brown, did you know Robyn used the family trust to buy a house in her name alone?" Kody blinked. Hindered, he opened his mouth to speak, then closed it. Then finally, "Yes. I knew." Gasps again. A courtroom already straining to hold composure began to crack. Christine closed her eyes. Janelle crossed her arms tightly, biting her lip. Meri showed no reaction at all, just empty eyes, fixed forward. "And did you approve of that decision?" Kody hesitated. "At the time, yes. Even though that money was meant to support all your wives and children." Kody's hands started to tremble. He balled them into fists in his lap. "I wasn't concerned about the rest of the family. I was thinking about survival, about Robyn and her children. The others, they were already halfway out the door. Christine was going to Utah. Janelle wouldn't take my calls. Meri spoke hardly to me. It seemed like Robyn and I were the only ones remaining." The prosecutor stood up, voice more pointed. "So rather than trying to repair the family, you opted to pay for Robyn's security. Is that right? Kody snapped. They abandoned me. I was attempting to keep in one piece what little I had left. The judge slammed the gavel. Get a hold of yourself, Mr. Brown. Kody breathed deeply, combing his fingers through his hair. I didn't care anymore, he conceded. I thought that if I could just make Robyn happy, then maybe I wouldn't lose everything. The room was silent, the type of silence that follows when something significant has broken. Christine stands again. Christine stood, her tone acid. You already had it all. A family, children, legacy. We constructed that with you, Kody. You didn't lose everything. You lost it. Kody turned to her. For once, he didn't attempt to argue. You went first, he whispered. Christine nodded. Because you had already. Janelle speaks with fire. Then it was Janelle's turn. She stood from her chair like a tempest gathering, slow and tensely. I paid for that family trust, she said. I worked extra shifts, moved states, sold my jewelry business to keep us in the black while you and Robyn lived like kings. Her voice got louder, more ferocious. I lived in an RV in the desert, while Robyn spent money on new furniture for a house I paid for. And you allowed it to occur. Kody's mouth opened, but words wouldn't emerge. You never apologized at all, she continued. Janelle gestured towards Robyn. And you, when I questioned you about the trust fund, you stared me in the face and said you had no clue where it went. You lied. Robyn cried silently. The judge allowed it to play out. He knew this wasn't just a legal battle, it was emotional warfare. The letters that changed everything. The prosecutor reached into a folder and pulled out a stack of handwritten notes. Your Honor, these are journal entries submitted voluntarily by the Brown children. With permission, I'd like to read a few aloud. The judge nodded. This one is from Aspen Brown. When Dad stopped visiting, I thought I had done something wrong. He said it was just temporary. That was 4 years ago. The courtroom was in stasis. Another page. From Gabriel Brown. Mom cried every night when the check bounced. Robyn got a new car the same week. I stopped believing in family after that. Christine dabbed tears from her eyes. From Gwendolyn, he said he couldn't help pay for my books. Said money was tight. Then I saw Robyn's kids got a vacation to Disneyland. Robyn buried her face in her hands. Kody leaned forward in the witness stand, his self-assurance shattered. A family publicly ripped apart. Mr. Brown, the prosecutor continued. Would you say that your behavior irreparably harmed the trust between your family members? Kody remained silent at first. But then he did, slowly, agonizingly. Yes, he said. I did that. I snapped them. His voice broke. I didn't mean to, but I did. The judge speaks. The judge glared across the courtroom after a long silence. This trial was not merely about fraud. It was about broken hearts, lost time, and the costs of emotional recklessness. He addressed Robyn. Though no criminal fraud can be established according to the legal definitions of joint marital accounts, this court recognizes serious emotional harm was done, specifically through dishonesty and partiality. He addressed Kody. Mr. Brown, you might not have violated the law, but you shattered your family. The courtroom was silent. Even the air was thick, like all the things that hadn't been said. All the lost years had descended upon each shoulder. Kody had confessed. He had shattered his family. But now everyone's attention turned to Robyn Brown, the woman who had it all. She stood, slowly, as if her body could not support the shame now lodged within her heart. Her hands shook, her voice nearly gone. I never wanted this, she breathed. I wanted to belong. She met Christine's gaze. When I wed Kody, I didn't believe I was replacing you. I believed I was joining. Christine remained silent. She simply regarded her serene and inscrutable. But it all changed. Robyn continued, drying her tears. I was always in the wrong. Every time Kody made a choice, it was my fault. When he paid me more attention, I didn't request it. When he left you, Christine, Janelle, Meri, it wasn't because I instructed him to do so. It was because he decided it. A bitter laugh escaped Janelle. You didn't stop him either. She spoke haughtily. Robyn winced. I didn't know how. Her voice broke. You believe I wanted him to withdraw? To be mad and hard? I lost him too. You think he's the same man I married? She faced Kody now. See what we've become. Kody remained still. Robyn approached the bench. speaking to the judge himself. If I could turn back, I'd never take that money. I'd sit with Christine. I'd talk to Janelle. I'd hug Meri and thank her for sticking up for me when no one else would. Meri finally looked up. But I didn't. Robyn admitted. I didn't do any of the above. I lived in my bubble. I believed if I had Kody, I'd be fine. But the thing is, she gazed at the women sitting in front of her, the wives who had shared her life, her children, her kitchen. I wasn't ever part of the family. Not ever. I was a wedge. And I know that now. Her voice fell to a whisper. And I'm sorry. It was not dramatic. It was not loud. But it was genuine. The courtroom held its breath. Meri's final goodbye. Meri rose slowly. There were no tears in her eyes this time. Only determination. Do you know why I waited all those years, Robyn? She whispered. Robyn remained silent. Because I believed in the dream. I believed that we could be different. Better, that we could demonstrate to the world what a truly plural family was like. She turned to Kody. But that dream only holds if every wife counts. And I stopped counting the moment Robyn came along. Gasps rippled through the gallery. You tell me you didn't replace anyone, Robyn, but I was erased. One dinner, one birthday, one dismissed message at a time. And Kody allowed it to happen. Kody glared at his shoes. I figured if I waited long enough, you'd get to see me. You'd come around. That Robyn would give up the table instead of holding it. She addressed the judge. I don't want money. I don't want revenge. I want release. She glared at Robyn one final time. I forgive you. But I'm through waiting to be seen. And with utter silence, Meri exited the courtroom. She didn't glance back. Christine sat still. No anger, no tears. Just clarity. The judge addressed her. Miss Brown, would you like to reply to what the defendant said? Christine nodded once and rose. I don't require Robyn's apology, she said softly. I required her honesty. 10 years ago. She regarded Robyn. You're not a villain. You're a woman who was given too much too quickly. And you weren't ready. None of us were. Christine breathed slowly. But I won't be bitter. My daughters are watching. I want them to see that hurt doesn't have to turn to poison. Her words were not bitter. Only serene. You hurt us, Robyn. But now, you don't get to own us anymore. She descended and sat back down, touching a soothing hand to Janelle's shoulder as she walked by. Robyn collapses. Robyn spun to sit, but her legs collapsed. Kody caught her just in time, gently lowering her to the floor as she wept. Hysterical. They all despise me, she sobbed into his chest. I destroyed everything. For once, Kody had no reply. The judge adjourned court for a brief recess. But the break had already occurred, not only in Robyn, but in all that they once referred to as family. The courtroom reconvened after a brief recess. But nothing about the room felt the same. Meri was gone. Robyn sat silently, her eyes hollow. Christine and Janelle, though composed, looked like women carrying the final weight of a decade-long storm. And Kody sat still, almost unrecognizable from the man who once stood on camera, boasting about leading a plural family. The judge came back, robe billowing, gavel held high. But his tone when he finally spoke wasn't chilly. It was somber. Before I make my decision, I want to recognize what's happened here today. This court wasn't designed to resolve emotional deceptions. But what I saw wasn't merely a case before the law, it was a reckoning. He addressed Christine. Miss Brown, your allegations, though hurtful, were motivated by a desire for fairness and truth. But since the money was technically held in trust with liquid access, this court cannot find Mrs. Robyn Brown guilty of criminal fraud. Robyn breathed out. But it wasn't relief. It was guilt. But the judge went on. This court does see that there was great emotional harm, economic disparity, and moral betrayal. Thus, I am mandating mandatory family mediation and a complete financial audit of the trust, historical and current. Everything will be assessed for restitution and equity. Kody leaned forward. So what does that mean for me? The judge looked at him squarely. It means this: you are no longer in charge of this family's financial story. A third-party fiduciary will manage the distribution of any joint funds left behind. You lost the faith of your wives. And now you've lost the legal advantage of that faith too. Christine and Janelle shared a look of serene contentment, not vengeance. Simple justice. Final words came from the judge. Let this case serve as a reminder. When marriages crumble, it's not usually precipitous. It's the gradual diminishment of empathy, of presence, of shared purpose. Without those things, no legal agreement, no spiritual tie can endure. He struck the gavel once. Court adjourned. Outside the courtroom, one final confrontation. As the crowd dispersed, reporters swarmed the stairs, angling for a headline. But the family continued walking, like fragments of a puzzle that no longer fit. Christine took the lead, her head held high. Janelle followed, hand in hand with daughter Savannah. Then Robyn, covering her face, holding on to Kody. But he was no longer holding on. Meri wasn't there, because she had already said goodbye. Christine's quiet victory. In that evening, Christine stood outside the courthouse in Salt Lake City. She gazed up at the skyline, tranquil still. She took out her phone and brought up a photo her children, all smiling. No Kody, no Robyn, no drama, just light. We didn't win in court, she whispered to the camera, recording a private message for her daughters. But we won something greater, we became free. She smiled. Really? Robyn's isolation. At home, Robyn sat on her couch, by herself. Kody paced the backyard, on the phone, saying little since the verdict. She looked at the family pictures on the wall, images of all the children together, all the wives smiling. It was like another lifetime. I didn't mean to be the bad guy, she whispered into thin air. I just wanted to fit in. But nobody was listening anymore. And for the first time in years, silence was louder than ever. Kody's final reflection. Kody sat at his desk, leafing through old journals, alone for a rare moment. Pages filled with schedules, birthdays, traditions, memories of a plural family that worked. They seemed like relics of something ancient now. He opened one page marked, Family Vision 2007. At the top in his own handwriting, we are stronger together. He closed the book, exhaling heavily. Me? I thought I was the leader, he whispered. But I didn't lead. I favored. Silence. He glared up at the ceiling, as if attempting to pray. But even God seemed remote now.